Morning, everybody. So I just thought I'd sort of do a little bit of a history lesson today, and taking you back to when things started. And how I set up this business, here in Nottingham. Where we're at right currently at the moment as a business, we, the company's called Pure Event Solutions. The nature of the business is, I suppose, the clue's in the title. We're an events marketing company, and what we do is we represent other companies' products and services and take them out to the public and explain the product and concept customers on the benefits of what they are able to take up. As a business, we turn over around about £1 million a year nowadays. I'm really excited where the business is at. We're just currently relocated to another city centre based just opposite the ice arena, with the idea of actually expanding. We've got 2 floors above for us to be able to open 2 more offices. At the end of July, we're actually just about to open an office in Stoke, which is exciting, and the office is going to be opened up in Derby at the end of October. So we're pretty much at the verge of sort of expanding now and diversifying the business into different products and different routes to market. Very busy times in the company at the moment, and we're looking forward to taking things forward. But it's quite interesting me running my business at the moment, because my son Ronnie Wood, he's not a Rolling Stone, he's in my company, and it sort of takes me back to when I first started, when I was a newbie in business, and to take you back to back to 2003 when I started in this industry. Quite simply, where I was at, I'd been a welder for 5 years. I was 25 years old. I didn't want to be a welder. All I ever wanted to be was a businessman. Growing up as a child, my dad ran businesses and succeeded, and drove sports cars, provided for the family, set a great example for me and my brother, and that's all I ever really wanted to be. There was a really telling point in my life when my dad picked me up from school in a brand new Porsche Carrera 2 Cabriolet. And I remember that day, even today, at the age of 40, looking over at my dad, thinking, one day, I'm going to be that young, cool dad driving Porsches, running my business, being the example for my kids. So growing up, that was the plan. The plan was to work for my dad, run one of his shops, inherit the business, and drive Porsches. Unfortunately, life isn't like that. It didn't work out sort of quite that way. I worked for my dad from the age of 16 up to the age of 20. My dad sold up because supermarkets sort of ruined the trade. I had to find a job. Got a job in engineering. It was good. It paid well. But after a while, it was pretty boring. And more importantly, realised that was not the example that I wanted to set for my son. The car that I drove wasn't the car that I wanted to drive, and the lifestyle wasn't what I wanted. So I had to do something about it. I actually realised that sales and marketing would be a good industry to go to, for the obvious reasons that you learn a lot of transferable skills doing this. I heard there was a lot of money involved in sales and marketing, and thirdly, realised that there's often a lot of opportunity to progress and build a career. And that's exactly what happened. I joined a marketing company exactly like mine in Nottingham back in 2003. And in fact, within 14 months of being in that office, I built my sales team within that business, got trained on how to run the office, got set up in business, and have been in business ever since. I've just gone past my 14th year in business. As I said, after all the years of working hard and putting the infrastructure in place, we're now in a position to be able to start expanding, opening more offices, and building the organisation as such. It does make me smile when I think back to my interview. Actually, my first appointment. The office that I joined was in a building called the National Deposit House behind the Theatre Royal. I wasn't a city lad, I'm from a place called Eastwood. I only ever come to Nottingham to get drunk with my friends, So walking around trying to find a business, if it was a pub I'd have found it just fine, but to find an office that I needed to go to was a problem. Back then, I wasn't following, Google. I was wandering around, near the Theatre Royal trying to find this place, and I was wandering around in a suit that was 4 inches bigger than this one, and I wasn't any bigger. It buried me. I was like a boy in a man's suit wandering around a city looking for a building I just couldn't find. I remember ringing the administrator at the time, her name was Natalie, embarrassed that I couldn't find the building. And she was lovely, bless her. She was really patient. She was like, don't worry, Danny, just follow this, follow that, and eventually I got to the front door of the building. When I got to the front door of the building, I couldn't get in the door. I pressed the buzzer, Natalie answered, I went to push the door just jammed. So I had to press the button again, and yet again tell Natalie, I can't get in the building. At this point, I'm starting to think I'm going to have no chance getting this job. I can't find the place, I can't even get in the building now. And the other problem was I looked into the right-hand corner, and there's a camera watching me struggle to get in this door. So I pressed the button, Natalie, I'm still not in, no problem, I'll try again, like this, and still couldn't get in the door. I literally almost turned around in embarrassment, and God, am I glad I didn't. I pressed the button again, Natalie answered again, and she then explained, the door was playing up, just pull it a little bit and then push it. I pulled and pushed, got into the building, walked into a reception full of people that was potentially trying to aim to get a role in the company, was really concerned that perhaps I wasn't going to get one of them roles straight from the off, considering I'd struggled to get there and I actually turned up late. Now the manager at the time, his name was Alex, and he introduced us all and was going out on what was called a watching day to watch the role, to be assessed, so that we all knew what was going off. But one thing he did say was that everyone wasn't going to get the role, and that he was only going to appoint a certain amount of people. So of course, me being me, I'm looking around the room thinking, right, I need to take some of these people down. And the girl that took me out for the day, her name was Naylor, she took me and another young lady out. So I realised that while I was out with them two for the day, if I could get rid of this extra girl, well, that's one less person to sort of worry about. So I spent most of the day talking negatives to her and telling her that perhaps it wasn't going to be as good as maybe she thought it might be, and that I was telling her that maybe I wasn't going to be interested in a role like this. I hit my goal, she left, she went, and that was one person down and the rest to go. I enjoyed what I seen. I liked the ethics of the company. I was told there was an opportunity to progress, which is ultimately what I really wanted. And I got the role. I remember skipping out that day, doing a little click of the heel, motivated about leaving welding and going into sales and marketing, being in the city and having a career opportunity. So I joined a marketing company in Nottingham on the 17th of March 2003. That was my first ever day. I was obviously nervous. I went out on my watching day, and it was simple. It was a system, and if it was a system, that meant that I could learn the system, it meant that I could copy it, and it meant that I could use this business as a tool to learn skills, make money, and build a career. I wasn't encouraged, I got to tell you, along the way. My mum wasn't thrilled about the role. She didn't like what she heard. Unfortunately, there's a little bit of stigma attached to sales and marketing. My mum, being a bit older, had heard some stories of the old insurance salespeople and the Winder salespeople, and people being a bit pushy and a bit rude, maybe companies being a bit unethical. I realised very quickly that my mum was wrong. The company was ethical, that I was going to be able to put my future in the hands of this company and build a business in the future for myself and for my family. I had my mum to prove wrong. I did that. There was a few other naysayers telling me that this wasn't going to work. 14 months later, I'd completed the business development program, got into management, and was set up running my own marketing company. My first office was in Nottingham for a few years, moved over to Derby, had 4 years over there, did particularly well in Derby actually, and that really set the foundations for, you know, the success for the family. I've been able to buy my dream car. I bought the Porsche. I bought one better than my dad actually. I bought the Carrera 4S, and it was quite motivating because I went to pick my son up from school when he was 14, and he turned around to me, bless him, and said, "Dad, you know, I now realise why you've been telling me this story of your dad picking you up and how motivating it was. It really does feel that good." And Ronnie, bless him, turned around and said, "Dad, I'm going to start working hard at school. You know, I'm going to start buckling down with football, and I'm going to do well in life, and I'm going to follow in the family tradition," as he said, which you could imagine, but it started to make me well up actually thinking about it now. So yeah, it's been a journey. It's been exciting. There's been disappointments. It's been hard work. I've had to roll my sleeves up and dig deep on occasions, but that's just business. You know, that's just life. And anyone that's succeeded, at anything, has had a lot of work. And you know, when I consider that it only took me a year to build my team and my business, when I consider that I've only been in business for 14 years, and you know, I've built a great, you know, future and family life for myself, I feel very proud, to lead this company. And you know, what's going to happen in the future? Well, I'm passing this down. I'm not here to run this company for the next 10, 15 years. You know, I'm 40. My goal is to be retired at the business for 50. I want to open up 20 offices is my sort of next goal. My long-term goal is to open 50. I want Ronnie to be super successful, and I want to leave a legacy behind me. You know, the people that I've got in my team, I want to see them hit their goals. This is not about me. I understand that if I can create success in others and help people hit their goals, ultimately that's going to help me hit my long-term goals. If I was to give people some tips on, you know, how to be successful, how to build, you know, a business for themselves, I think the first thing is it starts with a goal. It starts with what's important to you. Some things motivate me, some things don't, and I think finding out what motivates you and having that goal is going to ultimately give you the path. If you don't know where you're going, you're not going to really know when to turn when you hit a few stumbling blocks along the way. I think having a positive attitude and thinking big and being persistent and, you know, having the right mindset and being in the right zone for the day, for the week, for the month, for the year. I think, you know, attitude is vital in success, and I think as you read, the tips of successful people in life, they'll all tell you the same thing. I think work ethic. I think we all see from people like Ronaldo and Messi and Alex Ferguson, the most successful people in the world are the most hardworking. It's good to have a good work ethic. It's fine. You should have pride, you know, in the effort that you're putting in. I think another tip is give things a go. Don't be afraid to fail. Throw yourself in at things. I think too many people are too scared and apprehensive. I think you've got to be a bit like a kid in the fact that you've got to throw yourself in at things and, just give things a go. You know, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? You're going to learn how not to do something, and maybe, you know, it will work out. I think another tip, would be surround yourself with good people. I think people influence others a lot more than others think. Success comes through association, and I think if you, they say, I think that if you that you become a product of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. We all know, of the trouble causes at school. You hang around with trouble causes, you end up in trouble. Surround yourself with great people that motivate you, people that are a stage ahead of you to be able to learn from. And I think the last tip, would be, be persistent. I know it's a bit of a mindset sort of thing, but too many people give up too soon. Winners don't quit and quitters don't win. And I think the more that you persist and push, that's of course going to guarantee you success. Alex Ferguson created Fergie time. When other people are slowing down and other people are giving up, that's when you need to step up, keep working, and that's ultimately where the big rewards are, right towards the end of things. So So yeah, so you know, thank you for listening, and you know, it's been really nice telling everybody the story, and you know, watch this space. You know, I look forward to speaking to you next time, and seeing where we're at regarding our organisation. Thanks a lot.